warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon.
Waalaikumsalam.
Balikan deh. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Here, we are from second group in sociolinguistic. Today, we are going to present our presentation. The title is at the fourth chapter is linguistic varieties and multilingual nation. And the second, in fifth chapter, national languages and language planning. For the first presenter, Isya Indriani, the time is yours.
Thank you, Teh Ai.
You're welcome.
Okay, in here I will present about linguistic varieties and multilingual nation. In this chapter, we will discuss about vernacular language, standard language, lingua franca, and Pidgin and Creole. First, vernacular language. Vernacular language, it generally refers to a language which has not been standardized and which does not have official status. Vernacular are usually the first language learned by people in multilingual language communities. So, vernacular language is the language used in everyday life. Or in bahasa, vernacular language ini adalah bahasa daerah. Jadi bahasa yang dipelajari dari anak-anak, misalnya bahasa yang dipelajari dalam keluarga, atau bahasa yang dipelajari dalam kehidupan masyarakat. Next, standard language. Standard language recognized as a prestigious variety or code by a community. Generally is written, and it is recognized as a prestigious variety or code by a community. So standard language is widely used an official language or the national language. Jadi standar language ini bahasa nasional, bahasa yang resmi. Contohnya di Indonesia menggunakan bahasa Indonesia sebagai standar language-nya atau bahasa nasional. Next, lingua franca. Lingua franca is a language serving as a means of communication between different linguistic groups in a multilingual speech community. It's used between the people whose native language differs. So lingua franca it is used between the people whose native language differs. Jadi bahasa yang digunakan oleh kedua orang tapi bahasa kedua orangnya itu bahasa ibunya berbeda. Contohnya, ketika orang Padang misalnya berkunjung ke Bali. Nah, orang Padang berkunjung ke Bali akan menggunakan bahasa Indonesia sebagai lingua francanya untuk berkomunikasi di Bali. Next, Pidgin and Creole. First, Pidgin is a language which developed as a contact language when groups of people who speak different language come into contact and communicate with one another. Jadi pidgin ini bahasa kontak ketika sekelompok orang berbicara bahasa yang berbeda, kemudian berkomunikasi satu sama lain. Contohnya itu pedagang asing berkomunikasi dengan penduduk lokal. Next, Creoles. Creoles is a language that has evolved from the mixture of two or more languages and has become the first language of a group. Jadi Creoles ini bahasa yang berkembang dari campuran dua bahasa atau lebih yang kemudian menjadi bahasa pertama di suatu kelompok. Nah, di sini contohnya Jamaican Creoles is mixed with English and African. For example, instead of saying me, they say me. Jadi di bahasa Inggrisnya itu kan me, tapi di Jamaican Creolesnya mereka itu menyebutnya me. Jadi perbedaan apa sih? Penulisan. Nah, this sentence written in Jamaican Creoles, Unucia listen to him say. Nah, kalau di Inggrisnya, can you listen to what I'm saying? Begitu. Jadi ada percampuran dua bahasa antara bahasa Inggris dan Afrika, kemudian dengan Jamaican Creoles. Next.
Okay, thank you for the first presenter, Isya Indriani. And the next presenter is Ijan Saiful Purkon. For Ijan, the time is yours.
Okay. Ada nggak screen-nya?
Ada.
Okay, next, nation language and planning language. Paraguay is the only Latin American nation with a distinctive nation language. Guarani is a indigenous American Indian language spoken by over percent of the population and also existed for the past 3 years with Spanish spoken by no more than 20% of the people. Paraguay provide clear chance of stable broad diocracy with Spanish. Oke, jadi nation language and planning language itu sebuah bahasa bangsa ya, di mana ada sebuah negara Paraguay ini adalah di mana bahasanya itu mulai bahasa Paraguay ya, dinamakan bahasa Gurani. Nah, Gurani ini adalah bahasa Indian Amerika asli yang diturunkan oleh lebih dari 90% populasi ya. Nah, ada contoh menarik tentang persaingan klaim atas penduduk asli antara Paraguay dan Spanyol gitu. Oke, next, nation and official language. In the second Paraguayan government used to different terms to distinguish between the states of Spanish and Guarani. Guarani was declared the national language while Spanish was an official language of Paraguay. In sociolinguistics, the distinction between a nation language and the sovereign language is generally made along effective definition more and flexible. Jadi di sini ada bangsa dan bahasa. Diceritakan pada tahun 1960-an, pemerintah Paraguay menggunakan istilah berbeda untuk membedakannya antara bahasa dan bangsa. Adapun bahasa resmi yang sebaliknya hanya bahasa yang dapat digunakan untuk ukuran pemerintah. Okay, next. Official status and minority language. Because of the colonial history as well as the following is word. Language and interaction language, French, English, and official language in many countries throughout the world. Such as Pakistan, Fiji, Vanuatu, Jamaica, and Bahas, as well as those listed in the answer to exercise. Oke. Adapun status resmi dan bahasa minoritas. Dikarenakan sejarah kolonialnya serta nilai sebagai bahasa dunia dan internasional seperti Pakistan, Fiji, Vanuatu, Jamaika. Adapun contohnya bisa diambil dari Dun Nihaka, salah satu dari sejumlah aktivis minoritas setelah berkampanye selama bertahun-tahun. Oke, next. Planning for a nation official language. This from function and education. The one selection. Selection choosing the variety or called to be developed codification. And the two, codification standardizing in structural or linguistic feature. This kind of linguistic processing is now corpus finding. Nah, dalam planning bahasa, biasanya ada 4 langkah yang saling berkaitan dalam merumuskan sebuah bahasa dalam suatu negara. Yang pertama ada seleksi, memilih varietas atau kode yang akan dikembangkan. Yang kedua ada kodifikasi, standarisasi, piktur, struktural, dan linguistik. Jenis perumasan linguistik ini dikenal sebagai pencernaan korpus. Ketiga ada elaborasi. Nah, elaborasi ini adalah memperluas fungsinya untuk digunakan dominan baru. Ini untuk melibatkan pengembangan. Yang terakhir ada penggunaan penerimaannya, yaitu di mana status varietas baru itu penting, begitu pula sikap orang untuk varietas. Nah, itu ada planning untuk sebuah merumuskan bahasa dalam suatu bangsa, dan ini ada step in planning language. Bisa dilihat di dalam tabel, ada from and function and addition. Ada social, linguistic, selection, codification, and function, achievement, and evaluation. Nah, di sini ada sebuah contoh dalam negara Tanzania, selection a code. When the Tanzania was present in 1961, the government filed of the dilemma of which language to cause of the official nation language-nya. Jadi, nah negara Tanja ini ketika merdeka pada tahun 1961, pemerintah menghadapi kedelemaan lah gitu. Bahasa untuk dipilih sebagai bahasa resmi nasionalnya. Ada negara Tanja yang ketika itu dilema untuk masalah memilih bahasa nasionalnya atau bahasa untuk berkomunikasi pada lingkup negara tersebut gitu. Nah, memilih suatu bahasa dari lebih atau 100 bahasa masing-masing terkait dengan suku yang tertentu. Nah, terus adapun untuk pemilihannya beberapa pragmatis, ada bahasa pragmatis, sawil sudah akan menjadi sebuah memulai populasi antara pemilihan antara bahasa selection kode antara terus sawai dan masih banyak lagi untuk pemilihannya. Oke, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the second presenter. And the last presenter is myself. Can you look my screen?
No.
Belum.
Ada belum?
Yuk, ada.
Okay. Okay, the next discussion is still in the 5th chapter, still in national language and language planning. And the next point is the linguist's role in language planning. But before, who is linguist? Linguist is people who expert in language, or people who studying language. Here there are Samuel Johnson's 40,000 word dictionary was a landmark in the codification of English. Though, as example, 7 demonstrated he had few illusions about the lexicographer's role. Ivar Asian in Norway created a composite variety of Norwegian. From Orange dialect in Israel, Eliezer Ben Yehuda was the most influential proponent of the vernacularization of Hebrew. Francis Michalik wrote the Vision Authoritative Grammar and the first authoritative grammar and dictionary of talk piscine in the 19 and 50. Okay, the next is codification of orthography. What is codification? In language, codification is the process of selecting, developing, and laying down, prescribing a model of standard language usage. For example, in Samoa language, there are laga, gagana, galu, moga-moga, lagi. But in English, there are with language, web, breaker, cockroach, with, and cry. The next point is developing vocabulary. Example, the Academy of Hebrew Language in Israel has tried to select indigenous words where possible, but widespread usage has led them to accept lipstick and pajama. For instance, borrowed words are often integrated into Hebrew structure, however, so the check-in blank checks uses the Hebrew plural suffix im, not to the adoption of US spelling rather than British for pajama and check. Oh, jadi lipstick sama pajama ini katanya bahasa pinjaman dari bahasa ya dari bahasa Inggris gitu yang ada di Israel. And in this slide is exercise identifying the following words have been borrowed into Maori from English. Jadi di sini kata-kata bahasa Maori yang dipinjam dari bahasa Inggris. Seperti naik, kalau dalam bahasa Inggris naik. WK kalau dalam bahasa Inggris itu native wooden. Terus parau and so on and so on. And the next point is acceptance. The acceptance by the community of the norms of the varieties selected over the rival varieties through the promotion, spread, establishment, and enforcement of the norms. This is done through institutions, agencies, other authorities such as schools, ministries, the media, cultural establishment, etc. In fact, the standard language comes to be regarded not just as the best form of the language, but as the language itself. Consider the claim the Mandarin of Chinese in Singapore. The other varieties are then dialect, which tend implicit to get stigmatized as lesser forms associated with the not too highly regarded people, who are seen as less educated, slovenly in culture, etc. Acceptance is one of the steps to standardization in language. And then acquisition planning. Sociolinguistics may also make a contribution to organized effort to spread a linguistic variety by increasing the number of its users. This is sometimes called acquisition planning. And since the most widespread method of encouraging the acquisition of a language is to use the education system, it is also known as language in education planning. Acquisition is acquisition is acquisition language or another language. The conclusion is language planning is defined most simply as deliberate language change. This covers a wide variety of activities, including the introduction of new labels, For fruit, the reform of spelling system and the provision of advice on non-sexist terminology such as Mrs. and chairperson, a topic discussed in chapter 12. It also includes the development of national language and standard dialect as illustrated in this chapter. For and the next conclusion is process standardization. There are uh, four stage. First, selection. Variability is a fact of life for almost all language. And then acceptance, and then elaboration. And the last is codification. Maybe the presenters before have uh, described about them. Okay, thank you for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.